I believe we're live, fellas, so we are going to play some music and have some fun. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in Jersey.
So good to be back. That was completely freestyle, so I just want to make sure that's extremely clear. That was completely freestyle.
It's clearer than the video we're probably producing right now. I think I sent this out to like 2 people, like Fife and I think Timmy. See if anybody else chimes in and watches. Yeah, kind of testing the live stream out on YouTube today.
Cool.
And doing our normal thing here on Die on This Hill, having an opinion, and not being afraid to share it.
Number one hill I'm dying on today. Number one hill I'm dying on. How nice it is that I don't have to listen to Eric talk about palm trees.
Woo!
Number one hill. I think Joey's going to die on that hill with me. I know you're not going to die on that hill with me, but like we're dying on that hill. But also very happy to have you back in Jersey, my man. Glad you made it.
Thank you. I at least tried to reward you by bringing some of that weather back with
You
me.
did. It's a beautiful 75-degree day, bro. So thank you for bringing the great weather back. Really appreciate it. You're the man, Eric.
I try, my friend. I try. So, speaking of trying, though, Caitlin Clark trying to win her first championship and unfortunately falling short. Probably going to be known as the GOAT. Given all sorts of praise, but at the same time, she's now leaving college basketball. Yes, the all-time scorer. Yes, a million different records, but no championships. She is, what Dan Marino was before people started breaking his records.
And
She
Charles
was,
Barkley.
or Barkley, or one of these guys that just phenomenal talent, and unfortunately just never got that championship that they so needed and so wanted. But at the same time, she is a hell of a player. But without a championship, my question to you guys, is she the GOAT?
Yes. I'm sorry. To me, one of the biggest factors to being considered the GOAT isn't just what you statistically do or just about rings. It's what do you do for the game itself. And there has never been a women's basketball player who has had the impact on the game like she has. So can people argue that maybe others are better than her because they won national championships? By all means, have fun with that. But statistically, she broke not only women's but men's Division I basketball records, and she literally helped draw some of the largest crowds that have ever watched a women's basketball game. They outdid how many different things? The NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the
World Series.
You can, the list that goes on is crazy to think about what she helped do. So to me, I'm saying yes, and I'm not even hesitating with that thought.
Dave, that's I'm just going to piggyback right off of you with that. I was saying last week that she needed a ring to kind of cement her legacy. She really, they played great, man. But they ran into a Gamecock team that was looking for perfection. They were looking for, their own
Statement.
Thank you. There's my moment right there. It always happens every show. But yeah, they 36-0, 37-0. That's amazing. How often does that happen?
Well, if it wasn't for Iowa last year, it would have been back-to-back undefeated seasons.
Incredible.
Iowa beat them in the Final Four last year. That's why this was a revenge game for South Carolina. This is a game, and not one that they were just like, oh, no, this is another opponent. They circled this game. This is the game, the opponent, everything they wanted, because this cemented their legacy. That as great as Caitlin Clark was, how can you be the GOAT if you don't have a chip? And that's, to me, where it phenomenal? Yes. Going to make a difference on the next level? Yes. But can I call her the GOAT? I just don't think I can. If you do, and listen, I was anticipating the championship. I was anticipating the GOAT talk today. This isn't the one I thought we were going to have. But being that it's the one we're having,
I mean, considering how she started the game too, I think they started the game
18?
I think she had 18 or 17 in the first quarter. Iowa came out and I think was up 11-0 to start the game, but Cardozo on South Carolina in the back half of the third quarter and throughout the fourth quarter was just a dominant player, and what she was able to do to help swing the momentum of that game and put it in South Carolina's favor just can't go understated. And I also think that from what they were talking about, like the basic expectation in the WNBA's draft is Caitlin Clark's going 1 and Cardozo from South Carolina is going 2. So you had what the WNBA would basically consider the top 2 players in college basketball go against each other. It was a fun game to watch. But I told Amanda when we were watching the game together, you could tell in the beginning of the game the rebound advantage that South Carolina was going to have. And I told her, I'm like, if Iowa cannot figure that out, they're going to lose this game. And instead, Iowa ends up giving up 18 offensive rebounds and gets out-rebounded by 22, a margin of 51-29. That is insane. And that is why they lost this game. To me, it's plain and simple. South Carolina had more turnovers. They had more fouls. I mean, the rebounds are what made the biggest difference in this game out of anything.
Yeah, especially the offensive rebounds. You see 18-7 margin. That's a huge disadvantage to Iowa. So the Gamecocks really took advantage of that. Probably put up another bunch of points because of that too.
Oh, they had 10 more shots, but they also shot, almost 10% better from the field. 3-pointers was pretty even, but again, the rebounding is what made the difference in this game. No ifs, ands, buts, or anything else about it. The rebounds made the difference. Caitlin Clark had a great game. Cardozo on South Carolina had a great game. The Stars showed up and played well, but between the rebounding and I apologize for not knowing the girl's name that was guarding Caitlin Clark after the first quarter. Those are the two things that determine the outcome of this game, because that girl made Caitlin Clark extremely uncomfortable. Had a huge steal at the end of the first half to make the leads make it a 6-point game instead of a 4-point game, or giving Iowa a shot to maybe make it a 1-point game or a 2-point game. So just really big moments by Cardozo and the woman who I can't remember her name, and the rebounds. The rebounds are what did it.
Well, I can't argue with you there. Definitely the right way of going about it, but I don't know. I just can't get on board with you guys. I'm gonna die on a different hill. Game is game, and South Carolina outplayed them. South Carolina, you say she had a great game. She had 30 points, but over-under on her points were 33 and a half, I think. So she's actually under. And I think she needed to be way over for them to actually win that game. And as great as she is, basketball is a sport where even if you have just one guy, you could take one guy out. That's why you need more than one guy. And that's kind of, a great transition over to the men's side, because you look at it, you need more than one guy. You need more than Zach Edey. And Zach Edey put up numbers. That man came to play. He wanted it, but unfortunately, the rest of his team didn't back him up the same way. And they didn't shoot that well from 3. UConn kind of was trying to force him to do that. And, it kind of got a little ugly, for Purdue there towards the end. And I'm sad because, that kid Zach Edey, man, I got into watching him. He's going to be something special if he can hold up. Again, somebody with his size and body frame, guys over 7'1" usually break down a little more. When you get to 7'4", 7'5", 7'6", I remember guys like Sean Bradley or Manute Bol, or you remember some of these guys, and yeah, they can be a force, but for how long before they break down? And I just hope that doesn't happen to Zach Edey. I hope that he keeps growing, he keeps learning. I hope that he stays healthy, because I think if he does, he could be a big difference maker for somebody on the next level. There aren't too many guys 7'4" in the league, and there aren't too many guys who are probably going to be able to guard him. So, I mean, what do you got? Wemby? That's probably, who else is out there? Like, I'm trying to think of who are the super...
Wemby will kill him in the league. He doesn't stand a chance against Wemby.
I think Wemby, and I'm gonna die on this. So I'm gonna go.
He's an old school guy. They played old school basketball.
Who's an old school guy?
Edey. He can't hit threes or anything. He needs to be. He's an old school center. They were throwing him the ball, and they were if they weren't gonna double team him, he was just taking it, making a move, and taking it to the hoop. That was it. That's all they were doing yesterday. Purdue. They were 1 for 7 from 3. 1 for 7 in the whole game. Who does that in today's basketball? 7 shots from 3? You're down practically the whole second half. You only take 7 shots. It just shows you
they didn't have the horses. They didn't have the people to back him. They didn't have the people to take those shots.
I'm sorry, but it also literally shows you why basketball is just a different game now. Edey dominated. If Edey played the way he played in the first quarter, the entire game, Purdue dominates this game. But he didn't. He got tired. They changed up their game plans. They double-teamed him. When they double-teamed him, Purdue couldn't hit threes, so then they got nervous to shoot the 3 ball, so then they didn't shoot threes, hence how you only shoot 7 threes in the game. But if we're going down the argument hill of Wemby and Edey, the only thing Edey's going to be able to do to him is overpower him. But Edey will not be able to guard him. If he tries to face him up at the 3-point line, he'll get driven past. If he tries to guard him in the post, Wemby can just back out and make him guard him outside. No matter what, he's going to be able to draw him away. So that's a different conversation, but Edey played lights out for the first 8, or I want to say 20
minutes.
No, first 18 minutes, he played really good basketball. He was gassed by the end of that game. That's what UConn did. They made him. They basically said, sure, give him the ball every possession, and we're just going to constantly make him work, and then we're going to run down the court, so he has to run down the court, and they just wore him out. They accepted the haymakers, the big punches in the first half, because they knew they had the agility and endurance to survive the game, and Edey wouldn't be able to do it, and they weren't scared of the rest of the team. There's no other way to say it. They didn't do anything amazing, right? They shot 27% from 3. That's nothing special. They made less free throws than Purdue made. They only shot 4% better from the field than Purdue. But they had 10 more assists. They had less turnovers. They did what they had to do. They just
that
were
shows
a
you
better
they've been
team.
the best team in college basketball for a while now.
Yeah.
And Dan Hurley needs to get some credit, because what he's doing up there in UConn, he's got it rolling. And UConn's been a force for a while. I mean, I remember back when we were, younger in high school and stuff, and they were winning and doing what they were doing. I just think it's continuing. And, I think Dan Hurley's a guy who has really got something special there with them. And it's hard nowadays. I really think coaching is harder now than it was years ago. Because now you're not just worried about the players you're trying to bring in, or you're worried about the NIL deals. You're worried about who you're losing to the transfer portals. You're worried about where there's so many more
who
little
you get from the transfer portals.
All these little aspects, and to be able to keep teams together, be able to win consistently, it's hard to do. So I think he needs to get some credit for that, which I know he's getting plenty of. But yeah, because this UConn team, again, this was a year where I could tell you more women's names from women's college basketball than I could tell you men's names from men's college basketball, but yet UConn just keeps dominating, regardless of that.
They actually lost 3 guys after last season to the NBA.
Yeah.
So they lost 3 NBA caliber players and still managed to repeat as national champions. Like, that's badass.
And not only repeat, they kicked everyone's butt, man. They won by an average margin, I think, of 23 points this year. They kicked everyone's butt.
They did. Did they win? What was the final? Yeah, no, they
won by 15.
I think 12 straight games now in the NCAA tournament that they've won by double digits. And that is, I know it's already a record, but they're continuing the record, and that's phenomenal. So kudos to them. They deserve the accolades on the men's side. But
and women's too. I mean, the women's made it to a Final Four.
Yeah, listen, they're Gino Ariema, what they've been able to do there for so many years,
like 25 years or whatever now.
He's like Wooden.
Yeah,
that's what just the longevity of success and championships and making great players and like that.
Speaking of making great players and a player from UConn, did you guys hear any of what Dana Taurasi said?
What did Diana Taurasi say?
She said that because everybody's been saying, "Oh, Caitlin Clark." She goes, "Let her get to the next level. It's a different level here. There's levels to this stuff." And some people took it as she's taking a shot at Caitlin Clark. Other people are like, "No, well, listen, there are. She was a great college player, but now she's got to transition that to the women's league." And to be honest, like, this isn't coming from any just Joe Schmo out there either. So that's where, to me, if it was coming from just any women's player out there, it'd be a little bit different. When Taurasi's saying it, to me, she is one of the GOATs. She's up there. Like, she's Mount Rushmore-ish type women's basketball player. When I was a kid and I was watching her come up through UConn, I honestly, to this day, will tell you, coming out of college, I think she could have went to the NBA. Like, not just the W. I think she was that good. She could have went and played point guard in the NBA. She could have went and done something in the NBA. I think she was that special coming out of college. That's just me personally. So to hear her say this, I kind of respect it. And I hope Caitlin Clark takes it as a sign of respect and like, yeah, I got to come in. I got to earn that next level. I got to work at it, as opposed to taking it as a shot at her. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think it's a shot at her. I think it's spot on. Like, no matter how, like, we have seen amazing players play college sports. Basketball, football, soccer, hockey, you name it, right? We've seen players in college look just leaps and bounds better than everybody else in the game. And then go to the professional leagues and all of a sudden they turn into maybe an average player. Some careers end earlier than you ever would have thought. And occasionally they do end up to continue to be great, but there is levels to this stuff, and each level is a new challenge. And, not to, be a child here, but like, even if you think about the video games you played growing up, right? Like, there were levels. They got harder as you went through the game. It's the same idea. It's just real life and professional sports. Like, she's going to have to prove herself all over again. What she's done in college matters for her and those that, idolize her and all that. But for anybody that's just a straight fan of sports and wants to see her play in the WNBA, understands that it's, okay, well, now you got to do it again. Like, her big weakness, and even I noticed it just watching a couple games of hers, her most accurate three-point shot is when she dribbles to her left. So that lets you know, if you're defending her at the three-point line, make her go right. Like, if I can catch that after only watching her play 4 games, like, imagine what a professional scout or coach is going to be able to figure out when they have hours and hours of game tape to just study her. So she's going to have to step up her game. I even heard the commentator talking about how she's got to work on her little floater, that little run down the middle of the lane, float it up. Like, she's got to develop that into her game. So there's still plenty of room for her to get better, but does the girl have a bright future? Hell fucking yeah. Excuse my language, but...
we can all die on that hill. She's going to have a big future. She's going to be a good WNBA player. I don't think any of us think she goes there and becomes a bust. Right? Safe to say that? Nobody thinks she's busting.
I don't think she'll be a bust.
But, speaking of what could be a bust, though, and just to keep it in the college basketball realm one more time, but news breaking within the last couple days here, John Calipari leaving Kentucky to go to Arkansas.
Arkansas, baby.
That to me was a surprising thing. Not that he was leaving necessarily, because I could see why he might want to get out of there. but I Arkansas, like somebody really had to get to him and be like, you know what, like we hear you're ready to make a move. We want you at Arkansas. How do you not laugh him out of the room at first? Because I mean, when have you ever heard about men's Arkansas basketball? Rarely, if ever. Can't tell me it's a dream job. Can't tell me that it's a job you've been waiting for. So at the
but quick question.
Yeah.
10 years ago, did they ever talk about Alabama basketball?
No, very rarely.
So, yes, is Arkansas like a what are you doing thing now? 100%. But what made Calipari so great, or not maybe him so great, but the kids he was able to get on those teams, yes, they never were able to get, or not ever, but very rarely did he have anything past the Sweet 16. Like he
had 4 Final Four, or I think it was 4 Final Fours and 1 championship in his 15 years at.
Before the last 5 years, he's been knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
But he has so many one and dones, and no matter how much basketball can be dominated by a single individual. You mentioned it before. You still need other players. One guy cannot win you a national championship. One guy cannot win you an NBA ring. You need guys to step up in key moments. Even if the guy has 3 points for the whole game, but he hit that corner 3 because the main guy got triple teamed and passed it to the open guy. It doesn't matter. You need whatever you need to get. And sorry, I got myself worked up on that one. But like Calipari is a good recruiter. He's very good at getting kids to want to play for him. He's very good at putting those kids together and making the most out of what he has, and that includes being a pretty consistent person or team appearing in the NCAA tournament. Consistency is great. We all want rings. I say it as a Cowboys fan, great 3, 12, and 5 seasons. Doesn't mean a damn thing if you can't even get to the NFC Championship game. So I get it to that aspect for any of the fans out there, but when it's all said and done, you've also had some really great years, and he has a lot of turnover. When that makes you look at UConn, and we talk about everything they've done together as a team. And that's why they're that great, and Calipari's got knocked out of the first round.
So how long will it take for Kentucky to call Dan Hurley?
No, he already said he's staying. He said he's staying at UConn. The Alabama coach Oates said he's staying at Bama. So there's some coaches, because the second this news broke, that's exactly what everybody was thinking. Like, what's going on now? What are we doing? Like, how is this going to get worked out? And
I hope they take Billy Donovan.
Does Rick Pitino come back?
But that's the thing, is he never got fired from there. Like, he was there, but he left because the Celtics offered him the world.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, could they? But you got to look the other way on some other things. It's like he comes with a little bit of baggage. Could it be him? Could it be somebody else? But whoever comes, though, I have a feeling that the cupboard's going to be bare. And I say that because the last time Calipari left, he left Memphis. He took all his recruits with him to Kentucky. What's this? You got to figure the same thing's going to happen, because you're not playing for the university. You're playing for the University of Calipari. You're playing for John Calipari. That's who you're playing for. And like you said, one and dones. He's literally got a system where you come and see me, you play hard for me, and I could show you the ways to get to that next level.
Very true.
I could show you the ways to maximize your talent to be able to best utilize it on the next level. And that's what he's going to bring to Arkansas. So I think he's going to bring all those players with him. And I think that's the actual holdup on the contract. Is it's not his contract that's being held up. I think he's working out the NIL money and making sure that all his transfer guys are going to come with him. And I think that's part of what is taking as long as... So otherwise, 2 guys, you can get a contract done for somebody. They're saying it's a 5-year deal. Well, great. What's the money? Like, and if you're telling me you're haggling over...
Maybe it's the buyout. Maybe that's what the...
I have a feeling it's more of, if those kids are transferring, they're transferring and they still want their bag too.
I kind of feel
And that's where I'm at. So I think Arkansas is getting some boosters together.
Maybe.
Normally those boosters are for the football program though. So that's where it's because the SEC isn't known for their basketball.
No.
They're known for their football.
No.
And that's where usually the money goes is football. So you're going to now be taking some of those donors and saying, hey, guess what, boosters? We need NIL money for so-and-so. You know what I mean? And, yeah, I'll get it in a second. But, I think that's what the holdup is right now because he's not coming without his money or without his guys. And I think that he kind of made a deal with Arkansas. Okay, you want me, you want my guys, you want this here, we can come here. But, okay, my deal's worked out. Now let's make sure that you guys are going to follow through on your end and bring these guys that I want coming with me.
I don't know, man. I kind of just don't feel like the Kentucky guys are going to go to Arkansas. I get the coach is better, but I feel like the facilities aren't going to be as good and whatnot. Kentucky's
but again,
probably got top of the line stuff.
But again, who's coaching you? That's the problem. Is if again, Calipari's the guy that can get you to the end.
And it's all about the money. And Kentucky's willing to pay these kids to stay.
Are they though? But again, that's why I think Arkansas is getting their boosters together. Because if Arkansas, again, I'm sure you go back through Arkansas's records, they got some people with some money at the school that they can call on and be like, "Listen,
What's his name? Isn't Jerry Jones from Arkansas?
Might be. Dave, Arkansas? You would know better than me.
Jerry Jones is from Arkansas. Yes.
Get Jerry Jones money.
I found a random Dallas Cowboys something that I want to give you later. Just remind me. It's the only thing Dallas Cowboys. I don't even know how it ended up here.
No, but I think we should keep it here because it's probably been here since the Giants haven't been good, and it might be in my best interest that it stays in your house.
It's not anything current. I don't even know if you would know who this person is.
Interesting. Well, I'll at least want to see it, so we'll say that.
We'll do it later.
Anyway, moving on because I think we've killed the college basketball world here.
Probably the longest we've ever talked about.
Yeah, go for
it. To be honest, I don't watch a lot of college basketball or anything. So last night watching the UConn-Purdue game was my first one all year. And I didn't get the big hype behind Zach Edey. I don't think he's all that great. He plays old school basketball. I don't think that transitions into today's NBA. You think he's going to be a great talent and whatnot, and God bless you. He's back-to-back. Naismith, is that the award?
Player
of the Year?
National Player of the Year.
Whatever it is. But I don't see him transitioning well into the NBA. I don't even think he's going to be a first-round pick. He's 24 years old. I could see him maybe some team taking a chance on him in the second round, and maybe he's a bench player. I don't see him transitioning well at all. I don't get the hype behind him.
I will say this. I think...
But again, that's the championship game, 2 top teams, so I didn't see him all year. And in the tournament, he was dominant, and he had a 40 and 15 game. But I didn't see it last night. I don't get the hype behind him.
I think that there is a place for him in the NBA.
On the bench.
I do think he will be in the first round, but probably one of the last.
And that'll be better for him if he gets picked by one of the better teams.
And I think if you put him with the right team, ironically enough,
put him with the Spurs in the second round.
If people really love him, imagine the Spurs taking him early in the second round or trading up back into the first. That'd be interesting. Kind of give you definitely not the Duncan David Robinson combination, but it would give you an interesting combo. But translation into the NBA is going to be an interesting thing for him. I think he can do it, but I definitely don't see him ever having a Hall of Fame level or All-Star level career in the NBA.
I got to disagree with both of you there. Not that he's going to be a Hall of Famer or anything, but I think he's got all-star potential down the line. I think, again, yes, he's an older college basketball player. He's not a 18, 19-year-old. But at the same time, he's got some season to him. He's been around a little bit longer. He's played a few years now in college. He didn't just come out right away.
He does have a man's build.
He does. He doesn't.
Not wrong about that.
You see some of these freshmen and sophomore.
He's 24 years old, though. He should have a man's build. He's a man.
But that's where I'm thinking you get somebody who's a little bit more mature, a little bit more experience. And again, it's all about, I say this in football all the time. It's not it's who drafts you, not where you get drafted.
That is very
true. So if he gets put with a good team, it's not going to be Wemby. But if he gets put,
that'd actually be really cool.
Would it be though? Like, because I think Wemby's overhyped.
Dude, he's doing
I'm gonna throw it out there.
He's doing things we've never seen before.
Like what?
He's breaking NBA records like every night now, man.
Breaking records, like he's not breaking scoring records. He's not breaking double records.
Yeah,
he's not like
he is a better version of Kevin Durant.
I promise you. I don't know off the top of my head of what he's done, but I know he's one of the first players in history to have
I want to have you look it up,
points,
so I'm going to pull this back up.
I think he had a triple-double, and he also had like 5 blocks and 5 steals.
Can you tell me where San Antonio is in the standings?
Yeah. Dead
like last.
Because like we've been saying this whole podcast, it takes more than one person to make a team.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Wemby got a little bit overhyped. Like again, takes more than one person to win. It takes more than one person to win a championship. I'll tell you what.
It took him a little bit to figure it out, bro. But he figured
with
out
everybody injured, Jalen Brunson carried the Knicks. I have yet to see Wemby carry the Spurs. Like he leads them and everything.
Guard, number 1, 2. He's been in the
undersized.
He's 6'1", 6'2",
6 foot.
You're not wrong that he's undersized. However, it's his rookie year, and he finally figured it out, and he's been killing it, bro.
I mean, they're playing him less than 30 minutes a game, and he's averaging he's averaging a double-double with 20. He's basically averaging 21 and 11 a game. He's played 69
Very
games.
good. He's very good.
And he's just learning the NBA game.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's where I don't think you guys are giving Edie the credit, because you're automatically saying like, oh well,
Edie's got 4 years on him. No.
Yeah, like Edie's older than him.
Yeah. But
and this guy's already going to have a year of experience in the NBA.
But again, I don't believe the hype in Wemby. I see him as a very good player. I have yet to see him as a great player. I have yet to see him as a player that I look at and go, wow, my team doesn't want to face him. Right now, everybody wants to face him. They're beating him up. But again, let him get his, but if the team can't win, then what's the point?
It's going to take a couple years. You can't just have one player, especially in today's NBA when every team has 2, maybe 3 superstars. It's going to take a couple years. He'll get there, though. Pop's got one more run in him with Wemby.
I don't think he does.
I think he does.
That I don't know. They need a lot of talent on the team. That team is not good.
You're right.
You're not fixing them through the draft. And they're not an organization that signs players.
Look at Oklahoma City. Why they've been doing it through the draft?
But again, we've talked about Oklahoma City. Too young, not experienced enough, not going to do anything in the playoffs.
We don't know. We're going to find out.
I know. I'm telling you, I will die on this hill. They are not winning. They're not even getting to the conference finals.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because if you look at it, I'm not going to hate on that. If you look at it, you have the Lakers, you have Golden State. They're probably coming out of that losers bracket. And guess what? You're going to get one of them too. And I'm taking LeBron and AD. I'm taking Steph, Clay, and Draymond over that young Oklahoma City team. Hands down.
The Lakers, I'll probably take the Lakers just because the first round there's so many days off and whatnot. You're probably right. But if they get Golden State, I'll take OKC over Golden State. OKC is super freaking talented, and they are just getting started.
So is Golden State.
No, they're not.
They have young talent, too. Yeah, they are.
No. Golden State is not good.
They're the 10th seed for a reason, bro.
They're lucky to be
the
10th seed.
They're the 10th seed because everybody has realized that the regular season doesn't matter.
The same, bro.
Clay's not the same.
Draymond's
not the same either.
Together, though, they have the experience.
No.
You're not wrong about the experience. But I'm going to take OKC's athleticism against Golden State. I still think LeBron and AD, if AD's healthy, I know he got hurt the other night. So if they're healthy, I think them two can beat Oklahoma City. I don't think Golden State can, though.
You know what's funny to me? Week and a half left in the basketball season. Even with the expanded playoffs, the playoffs are set right now.
Yeah, they're set. Seeding, that's about it.
That's it. A couple seeds here or there, but most of them are set. Boston's set at 1. OKC maybe, or the Timberwolves. I don't know who's going to get the one there.
And also Denver's up there too. Denver's been killing it the last month.
Denver's the team. That's why there's no way OKC gets out. There's no way they play a first-round matchup between either Golden State or the Lakers, and then have to go in the next round after that and play Denver or somebody else. There's no way they're making a finals.
The seeding is definitely not set yet because this isn't even up to date, and this is NBA.com. And as of yesterday, the Lakers were the 8. So
they're the 9.
Right now, it's showing this NBA.com showing them at the 9. So you're telling me 2 teams that you like more than OKC are gonna have to play each other. If this is accurate, 2 teams would have to play each other. So one of them is going to be gone. Then they get the Suns, who is one of the most
top heavy.
I literally don't understand how they are as inconsistent as they are with so much talent. It is mind-blowing to me. They have 3 different guys on their team that could drop 50 without even trying. And they can't even play 500 basketball. It's mind-blowing to me. I think they could beat the Suns. And then if they beat the Suns as the 3 seed, they're going to play whoever they'll play the lowest seed remaining, so there's no way to know who the hell they're going to play. But, I mean, the Mavericks, do we think the Mavericks could take them out? The Clippers could take them out? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I mean, it could go either way,
really
right?
do. West is going to be a great
but
playoffs.
Like the Nuggets, Timberwolves, I'll probably take either one of them over OKC. That I will agree with. But I think OKC could definitely at least get out of the first round. I mean, last year we thought the Knicks would beat the Cavs, and they weren't able to do that. But I'd like to think they could beat them this year.
No, they did.
I thought the Cavs were who eliminated the Knicks.
I thought the Knicks beat the Cavs last year, and then they lost to.
I thought the Knicks beat Atlanta, and then Eric, you have any memory of the NBA playoffs last year?
The Knicks
they got knocked out by
Cleveland in the playoffs, right?
Oh no, yeah, they beat Cleveland, and then they got knocked out by Miami.
Yeah, that's it, Miami. Thank
Playoff Jimmy came.
Thank you.
I thought the Knicks had an easy ride to the Eastern Conference Championship when I saw they got Cleveland and then they were going to play Miami. I'm like, oh my god, Miami only beat Milwaukee because Giannis got hurt, and they just were able to take advantage of that. Then they beat the Knicks, and then they beat the Celtics, and then they go on and force a game 6 against Denver. Like
Jimmy Butler in the playoffs.
Playoff Jimmy, bro. Worst trade Chicago ever made.
All right, my bad. I got us off course.
Completely off topic.
I got us completely off course.
We're good. I don't even know where we were supposed to go.
We went from Zach Edey to OKC.
It happens. Sometimes you just go off the rails a little. You go off the rails.
There's worse things we could have talked about. So I think we're doing okay.
Well, I just to throw it out there, Knicks going to be in the playoffs. Rangers going to be in the playoffs. Which team makes it further?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
Rangers are looking at like they're going to be the President's Cup trophy winners this year.
They both win a round. I'm going to go Rangers. Rangers have the opportunity to actually win the cup, so I'm going to say them.
I think the East in the NHL is stacked.
It definitely is.
And the Rangers, it's been like over a decade since the President's Cup trophy winning team won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, last year didn't Boston get knocked out by Florida first round?
The Devils knocked out the Rangers in the first round. Nobody saw that coming last year. But like you look at the East with the Knicks, and all year long outside of the Celtics, they've probably been the most consistent team. All right, maybe not all year long, but over the last 6 weeks or so, they've probably been the most consistent team in the East. Orlando's is similar to OKC. They're just a young, talented team, and they play good basketball together. Boston, I don't know, man. Tatum just disappears when it matters the most, and the team is either win or go home most of the time. And so I don't know how much I trust them. They have, I think, 4 different 20-point plus blown lead losses where they were up by 20 or more and lost the game. I watched that Knicks game when the Knicks were down 20 to
Sacramento.
Sacramento, and they came back and won by 13.
That's today's NBA, though, man. It's a lack of defense, and if you're hot from the threes, you can get back into things. You can turn things around quick.
I know, but they turned things around because Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart basically just they made an adjustment on offense and ran a pick and roll with Brunson and Hart, and it was over. It was literally over. Sacramento had literally no answer. They could not figure out how to stop it. And in turn, the Knicks just went off. And that's where I think the Knicks have they got a good coaching staff. Brunson's playing at an MVP level. I know Randall's done. He's not coming back for the year. But Obi, if they can get him back, that'll help them on the defensive side of the ball. Like, the Knicks, I'm going to go with the Knicks. I know that was a long-winded way to answer that question, but I think I'm going to go with the Knicks. I think the Knicks have a genuine chance to make the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
No, I got to go with the Rangers. I got to be honest. They've been too consistent all year. Been very good all year. And I think that, even though there seems to be a curse on that President's Trophy winner to, they usually don't win the cup. But
it's got to happen one year.
It's got to happen one year. Maybe this is it. Like I said, I think they have the goaltending in Quick and Shesterkin. They have the offense. And not that I don't trust the Knicks, but I think we'd be having a totally different conversation if Julius Randle was healthy. Because if you have Anunoby, great. I've come around on Anunoby. I was a big person who hated the trade at first. Hated the thought of it. Didn't know who he was. Wondering why the Knicks were getting rid of Barrett and Quickly, two guys that the fans really loved. To bring in this guy, I didn't understand it at the time. I started to watch him, and I understand. And
he fits in perfectly.
He's great for what Thibodeau wants to do.
Exactly. He's a Thibodeau player. Jimmy Butler was a Thibodeau player.
And he has a few of those guys now because he's got Brunson. But the thing is, without Randall, without that third horse, I just don't think they have the horses to get it done. So I got to think the Rangers make it a little bit further. But yeah, that being said, talking about who making it further, and to switch us up here to a different topic, but I want to talk Masters. Masters starts this week, starts on Thursday. And the only reason I really want to talk about it is Tiger Woods, y'all.
Tiger Woods, y'all.
Is he going to be healthy enough to actually play 4 rounds of golf? And that's the problem, is that this is a hilly course. It's up, it's down. It's not the easiest course out there to walk, and you have to walk it. By Sunday, will he have enough left in the tank? Obviously, this is no longer the days of Tiger or the field. We get that. But can Tiger muster it up for one more run?
He absolutely can muster it up for one more run. However, I think his back just gets the best of him. I really do. What was the last tournament he was at? He had to pull out of because of his back. Unfortunately, I know we all lived through his magical time, and nostalgia will always come back to us, and we'll always ask this question. And I always want to say yes, because it's Tiger, and I want to see the red shirt on Sunday. But realistically, I don't think his back holds up. I really don't. And it's sad to say that. And he turned. You guys know he's turning 50. Tiger's gonna be 50.
A few more years, he'll be on the senior tour.
I don't know. I don't think he'll ever do the senior tour. Do you think so?
If he's allowed to ride around in a cart, he'll do the senior tour.
Okay.
He ain't walking. Like Eric said, that's part of what kills him.
But yeah, man, I just don't think his back holds up. I hate to say that.
All right. Come on, Dave.
I don't even think he makes the cut to be able to play on the weekend.
Don't say that, bro. Don't say that.
That's a hill to die on right there. Because I got to say, I'm more with Joey. I think he can muster it up for one more. I want to see the Tiger red on Sunday. He's really the only reason we're tuning in. He's the GOAT. He's up there. Him and Jack Nicklaus, they stand alone. And, it's just more entertaining and more fun when he's relevant.
Yes.
Ratings are up when he's relevant. The casual fan tunes in when he's relevant. So I am hoping that he's at least relevant through the weekend. So I'm going to hopefully die on the right hill here and say that he's got a chance, an outside chance.
He's always.
But
got
I'll
a
tell you
chance.
what, if he's within a stroke or two on Sunday, there's nobody that wants to be in the group with him. There's nobody, he could be a part of that first group. The rest of the group's going to be scared. And you may say no. You may say Tiger's not the same guy. I say face him on Sunday in red and tell me that you don't think differently. So I'm going to agree with Joey here.
Let's go.
And I'm going to say that, dude, this is one you're going to die on your own. And I'm going to hope that you are dead wrong about it. Although there's probably a good chance you're going to be right.
Just to clarify here,
I don't want you to be right.
I just want to make sure this is very clear. What I think is going to happen is not what I want to see happen. I would love Tiger to be playing on Sunday. I would love to see the Tiger Red. I am in complete agreement with you guys. But I think him going out and just having to go play 18 on a weekend with some buddies, he could beat anybody in the world probably still. But the gruelingness that comes with the 18 walking that course, then getting up, doing it again the exact next day, that to me, I don't think his body has it in him anymore, and it's been a consistent issue for what,
a while now,
6-7 years almost, it feels like. So that to me is what I want to see happen, but I think the exact opposite is going to happen. I don't even think he makes the cut.
Wow. I wouldn't make the cut, I can tell you that.
Oh, God.
I golfed. I didn't get to tell you guys this. While I was away, I did golf 3 times. I haven't played 18. I played 18 holes 3 times. I haven't played 18 holes 3 times in the last probably 12 years combined. Like the last time I played 9 with my dad like 3 or 4 years ago. Played 18 about 8 years ago in a buddy of mine's. There was a PBA outing or something that we played in. Played 3 times while I was away. So I gotta tell you, you do feel it the next day. So I mean, listen, you're swinging the club a lot like I am because I'm just chunking it all over the place.
Oh yeah,
it's
the shoulder starts to hurt a little bit, the hip, the back.
You get it. It's a workout, believe it or not. And I was riding around a cart, so I mean, I wasn't even walking the damn thing.
That'd be me, riding around in a cart, drinking some beers.
That's the way it goes. But I was yeah, exactly how it goes. But I was like, I actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. You guys guess? I actually shot within 1 stroke all 3 times. Like I was pretty consistent all 3 times. And shy of a mulligan here or there off the tee box, I did count all my shots. So if I hit it in the water, I counted a drop shot. Like I did try to do it the right way.
We're talking mini golf here or regular golf?
Regular golf.
Oh, okay. Were you triple digits?
I was triple digits.
That was going to be my question.
You can't listen. I'm not showing up 12 years later and going under.
I remember the par of the course you were playing.
What
like
do you
70, 71, 72?
71, I believe.
71. I'm going to go with 116.
I'm going 110.
Both over.
Both over. That's impressive.
I was 107, 108, 108.
My best score ever, if you want to have any idea how much I suck at golf, is a 106. That is my best. I've never broken triple digits.
Oh, the 107 too was. I felt like that was my best round ever. Yeah. I was actually excited about it. I actually parred some holes. Nice. It was yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's really sad when it's like 36 and 36 for each 9, and you're like, oh, 52 here, 54 there. 106. Nice.
Right? You get excited about it.
I mean, Tiger could beat me if he played lefty. Like, if he played opposite hand, he could still beat me.
Oh, his son would kick my ass.
Yeah, his son is really good.
His son's really good.
I'm not even trying to. Like, his son could have beat me 10 years ago.
His son could have beat you out the womb.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how it goes there.
Thanks.
Well, no, I didn't mean you. I definitely meant me, not you. I'm like, I don't even. I can't remember the last time I even played 18. I'm probably at like a 200 in my shot.
Joey's like, the hill I'm dying on? Tiger's son could have beat Dave while he was still in the womb. That's Joey's help.
So it's probably not far off.
Fuck you.
But yeah, so I mean, to transition us though from Tiger's back, I want to get us into. Hang on one second here. Oh no, that was not what I wanted right there.
You didn't want knuckleheaded news.
Not yet. We want this. So, and not to bring up our 9-2 start either, Joey, but I want to bring up what the MLBPA is coming out and doing, because to me it just seems like we're on our way to a strike. It seems like these two.
Don't say that, dude.
Dude, these two are like a bad divorced couple between Manfred and what's Tony Smith
Clark.
or Clark. Yeah, that's it. Right now, the MLBPA is coming out and blaming the pitch clock, for arm injuries to pitchers. Now, Dave, I know that you are not the baseball fan that me and Joey are, but at the same time, I know that you got an opinion on whether or not a clock is causing arm injuries. So I'll start with Joey, I guess, but to give my quick little rundown here, I see this as total bullshit. I see it as a chip that the players' union is going to try to use. That, oh, you guys want to keep this clock? Well, then we want other concessions here or there. This is something that's automatically going, because rather than like sitting down and talking with Manfred and baseball about it, they instead come out and put out a press release. They instead come out and say, oh, well, this is the reason there's injury. Why not try to do something about it? Instead, they just want to automatically pick a side and start arguing. And that, to me, is never going to lead anywhere. It's never going to do anybody any good. And as much as you want to blame it on the pitch clock, I blame it on every pitcher coming in and throwing 110% on every pitch. You can't come in and give it full-on gas every pitch and expect your arm to hold up. It's not meant to do that. And it's not meant to do it 100 to 120 times a game over the course of, once a week to twice a week. It's not meant to do that. You have to take a little bit off of it. The best pitchers in the world, Greg Maddux and those, they will tell you. Greg Maddux didn't have to beat you with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball because you know what? That man could pitch. He could paint a corner. He could do anything. Like that, it's different, and I get that, but the Mets had this problem with DeGrom because DeGrom was one of those players all out. Every pitch. And the Mets tried to tell him, dude, you're going to hurt yourself. We need you to take a little bit off so you can last longer in games and last longer on the field. He didn't listen. And that's why he shipped out of town. And look at what's happened to him since. He's no longer the same pitcher that he was. You can't just go full blast. And more than the pitch clock, to me, that's to blame for pitchers blowing their elbows out 2-3 times, to constantly getting injured. Don't blame it on them being rushed by a pitch clock. Blame it on what it is these guys are trying to throw 110 miles an hour every time out there because they know that by doing that, that's how they get the big contract. That's how they get their stats, their analytics, their velocity, their spin rate. That's all they care about.
Eric, they're throwers. They're not pitchers. They are throwers. Pitchers, when we were growing up, if you could top out at 95, you might throw 92 to this guy, take a little off here and there, and then if you're trying to get them out, you top out at your 95 pitch. These guys, like you said, are trying to throw 110 every single time. I don't think the clock has anything to do with it. However, your body definitely needs to adjust. So there could be something to the clock. There could be, just because if you're a veteran, you've had, like Garrett Cole. How long has he been in the league? We'll say 13, 14 years, something like that. He's never had to deal with the clock. So he could rest for as long as he wanted and then throw. So maybe there is something to that. It's possible. However, I tend to agree with you more, with everybody just trying to chuck it as hard as they can, which is just stupid in my opinion. Also, another thing, they got rid of anything, the sticky stuff. Mm-hmm. Remember the spider tag?
Yeah, attack.
And they went cold turkey with it. It's not like they said, okay, you can go from this to this and we'll slowly weed you off. No, they went cold turkey right away. And that also messes with the pitchers. Because now they don't, they don't really have a grip on the ball as much. So I feel like they're overcompensating by throwing more, throwing harder or whatever, trying to put extra velocity because they don't have that sticky stuff. So you're right. Everything is all about the velocity, their spin rate, and I think without certain things, without the sticky stuff, it's going to affect a lot more pitchers. And we'll see, man. Maybe this is just one of those years where you have elbow issues. It happens. There's times that happens. Right now in the NFL, you have all these quarterbacks getting hurt. It just happens. It's just one of those eras right now. It'll take a few years probably to come down, but yeah, we're just going through it right now.
Shout out to Eric and Timmy watching us live on YouTube, and just Eric throws in there. He got to grow up watching one of the greatest pitching rooms of all time. He's a Braves fan.
Oh,
so with that Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine, and goes on to say, not only could all those guys paint the corners, but they had a great at-bat strategy for each and every batter they faced. It's a spot on, totally true.
He's 100% right. Now it's just I'm going to throw as hard as you can, and hopefully, and put as much velocity and spin on it, and see if you can't hit this. And that's not pitching. That's throwing, and that's what majority of these guys.
But do you think that the MLBPA has a right and should be blaming the pitch clock for this? And that's where I want to add. That's kind of where I want to keep the conversation. So, Dave, I want to get you a little bit involved here. What do you think about the pitch clock? Is this the reason that pitchers are getting hurt, or is it more of what Joey and I are saying?
I mean, I honestly think it's probably a combination of both things. Joey kind of scratched on the surface of it. Is like, when you have these different things all coming together at the same time. So throwing a ball more consistently than you used to in the past, where you could stand there for 45, 50, 60, like you had time where you could let your arm take a breath. Now it's whatever the length the pitch clock is. Now you have that amount of time.
24 seconds, 22 seconds.
Something like that. Yeah, 24, I think.
Back
22.
up you go, right? Like, so that's doing a motion like that consistently. Like, if you think about it, right? You bend your knees throughout your day. But if you're bending your knees, if you sat here like this and you just kept bending your knee every 20 something seconds, your knee's going to hurt. It's the same thing, right? You're talking your elbow, your shoulder. Those things are all involved with throwing a ball. So is that part of it? Yes. Another part of it's going to be guys trying to throw the ball as hard as they can because they care more about speed, velocity, and the analytics of the how you're judging their throws. And then you get to whatever this sticky stuff is you're talking about. That's another factor. All of these things add up to making sense. But when it comes down to the basis of your question, I do not believe you can solely blame the injury issues that are taking place on just the pitch clock. It's too many things adding up together.
And when the Yankees signed Cole, weren't they concerned of possible elbow issues because he never had any arm issues?
Yeah.
They were saying it's going to happen eventually. It happens.
He's throwing now. Threw 25 yesterday
I saw that.
out there. So
no rush, bro. We need you for
not right
October.
Now. No rush.
No rush, bro. If we're now 9-9 come next couple weeks, that's a little different. Then start rushing. But right now we're good.
As Eric is saying in the live chat,
Chips dig the heater, bro.
Give him the fastball. What's his name? Bond,
Give
right?
him the heater.
The heater. If you can hit it, you can rename it. The Terminator.
If you can hit it, you can quit it.
Bond.
All right, we're going down a rabbit hole here, gentlemen. Let's keep this one moving.
What else you got? What else you got on there? What other toys?
Oh, that's the other thing too, right? Like, I don't have the headphones, so I'm not catching the exact details of what's happening. Right?
Yeah, I didn't even go chipmunk there. I went monster voice.
Oh God! All right, well that's
switching it up, right?
It was like
And speaking of switching it up, I mean, this is probably going to bring us to I think it's our last topic of the week, and it's one that kind of broke I think like right after we got off, right? Or the next day, next morning, maybe?
Yeah, the next day. The
next day. And it brings us to our
Knuckleheaded News of the Week.
what were the Bills thinking? I know Stephon Diggs wanted out. But they got, what, a 5th and a 6th back for him? Something stupid?
They got a next year's second, which is from Minnesota.
Next year, so not even
But
this year's.
The Bills gave up a 5th and a 6th and Diggs for the second.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, what?
Something happened.
What happened?
We've seen it the last couple
A
of years.
lapse in judgment happened, is what happened. You gotta be kidding me. I get it that he's not the superstar that maybe he once was, but Stephon Diggs is still a damn good receiver. You're gonna let him go to an up-and-coming team, and which they were smart too, because Houston went ahead and guaranteed like
This year.
this year
They voided
and
out his last 3 years
the
of
last
the deal.
3 years,
Yep.
but they guaranteed everything for this year. So he's getting like $22 million this year. He's going to be a free agent after, be able to go wherever the hell he wants. And literally, Buffalo got a 2nd-round pick next year.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Not even this year.
At least the 2nd-round picks for Minnesota, so you got to figure it's probably going to be a top 10 2nd-round pick. So you're still
Still
picking in
worth
the
it.
top 40, 45 picks.
And they better take a play from the Green Bay playbook, because maybe they're gonna go with young wide receivers. You saw what Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Romeo Dobbs have done. Maybe they're gonna go the young route. Maybe they see, hey, all these drafts are loaded every single year. These receivers can play. Why do we need them?
Maybe somebody should give Buffalo their balls back.
I think it's a lot of balls to trade them.
No.
Especially to Houston,
This
someone
is
you're competing with for a title.
But you got nothing back.
You got a second back.
Not this year.
I get that.
So you got nothing back this year. You gave up
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs. He's going to be a free agent next year, and you got nothing for this year. This year you've improved your team 0 and gave
True.
away Stephon Diggs.
That the GM even said that. They said he even came out and said our team is not better this year.
You're telling me that calling around the league, they couldn't get better than a next year's second and having to send picks back with him? I mean, dude, this is a level of stupidity. This is a level of either just not giving a shit, I'm trying to grasp it, because to me it doesn't make sense. To me, this doesn't make sense for Buffalo. It makes sense for Stephon. It makes sense for the Houston side of it, because they're like, hell yeah, I'll take this deal. Who wouldn't take that deal?
Well, the last few years have been toxic, right? Between the
The
Bills and Diggs.
The last 2
they
off
had something happened this season where they.
But you're telling me you couldn't get
to.
better than that? Like,
Maybe
I question
the
that.
league. Everybody knew. The league knew.
Dallas traded Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick.
A couple years ago, or yeah.
And we've seen what he's done the last 2 years in Cleveland. Wide receivers that when teams know the team doesn't want their star wide receiver or one of their best wide receivers, it is probably the easiest trade to pull off. Because wide receivers, and we've talked about it before we even thought about having mics in front of us, and wide receivers tend to be the biggest, loudest people in the locker room and are divas. They think they're always open. If they drop a catch, it's never their fault. And then when you're going after your franchise quarterback, arguing with him, issues with the coach, other issues with teammates, whatever it is, sometimes a ham sandwich is good enough to get that headache out of your life, and that to me is what Buffalo decided. I don't know any of this about Diggs, right? I'm not some insider. I have no idea. But if that was the case, which were some of the rumors you heard, then a ham sandwich is good enough to get somebody out of your locker room and out of your organization to do what you think is the best thing for your team in the long run.
And one more thing I'll say too. Under Joe Brady, he really wasn't utilized. Diggs. The offense really didn't go through him. It went through Dalton Kincaid. It went through they actually had a running game finally. So maybe they said, "See you, bro. Get what we can get, and we'll just bring in a rookie, and we'll go."
Way too early prediction. Buffalo doesn't win this conference or division next year.
Who's winning it?
Miami.
The Jets.
I think Miami has a much better chance now
I
that
don't.
Diggs is gone from Buffalo.
I still think Buffalo's the best team in the division.
With Josh Allen, I like them as the best team in the division, but the Jets are right there, bro. I really do think the Jets are going to make a push this year.
If Rodgers plays quarterback, the Jets will be not only arguing for a division title, they'll be arguing for a high seed in the AFC.
But I'm not counting out the Bills.
Yeah, no, can't.
I'm counting them out. Stick a fork in them. I think they're done.
So wait, are you saying they won't win the division, but will make the playoffs, or won't even make the playoffs?
This could be a reset year for them.
Because that
This
to me is the real hill you would have to die on. Like, to say they won't win the division in a division that has a Tua and a successful Miami team, a potential full season for a good Jets team with Rodgers at quarterback, like, and then
I think if Rodgers plays, I have a feeling that Buffalo misses the playoffs.
Okay.
I think it will depend on what happens with that second team in the division. And I think Buffalo and the Jets could beat each other up enough to where neither of them make it.
All right, so the question is, are you willing to die on the hill and say that Buffalo is not winning the division nor making the playoffs? Or are you
right now, I'm going to die on the hill that Buffalo's missing the playoffs next year.
All right.
As of right now. But again, that could all change. We still have training camp to go through, injuries, other things can sway that later on.
Oh, yeah,
but
we'll have real die on our hill predictions when we get to the.
But my
to the
way too early
preseason.
prediction, the way too early hill that I'm dying on, yeah, I'm saying Buffalo misses the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. See, if I'm going way too early, I think Buffalo's just as good as they were last year.
That's where I'm going to.
I mean,
They're one Josh Allen injury away from being under
Oh
500.
yeah! Oh my God, Josh Allen. That's a
Are you
whole.
kidding
They,
me?
they could have kept Diggs, and if they lost Josh Allen, I think they're a 500 or less team.
They have Mitchell Trubisky, guys. Season saved.
Definitely
Come on.
500, not even 500. They're definitely 500, and that's keeping Diggs if they lose Josh Allen.
Nah, I think they'll be
That
okay.
defense
I really
is not good enough, and that run game last year was the first time it ever existed.
Dude,
since
they
got
made
Josh
that
Allen.
run they did without the. They cut Poyer, Tre'Davious White, and all these guys were hurt. I think they're going to be okay, the Bills. I really do. They've been drafting well and developing players.
All right. Well, listen, we're dying on different hills then, but
We've had that several times. I mean, there's been several 2-on-1s in this.
It's always a 2-on-1. I don't think the three of us have ever agreed on anything.
I mean, we agreed on the fact that it's
good to have Eric back.
Eric was a wise ass the last 2 weeks while he did shows down in Florida. We were all on the same page there. Sure, he would agree with that still right now.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he would. Look at that fucking smirk. I should have a tortilla.
smack me right in the face with it.
And with that.
Why don't we tell the kids where they can find you? Joey, we'll start with you first.
You can find me wherever Dave Hastings tells you.
What he said. At David Hastings 23 on X. What was formerly known as Twitter.
You can follow me at The Living Legend on X and Twitter. Or at Die on This Hill on YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching this,
at Die on This Hill.
Find Joey at Die on This Hill. Spotify, Apple, all your favorite podcasting apps of choice. Find us there. And until next week, fellas, don't be afraid to have an opinion and die on this hill.
Yeah.